when the rates start coming down, which they will, the most projections I'm hearing from who I consider to be the smartest people are saying probably spring to summer. And so guess what's going to happen? When you have lower rates, you have all of these, like the largest volume of first-time home buyers coming into wanting to buy their first homes. They're waiting for those rates to come down.
Yeah.
So do you think inventory is going to improve?
Nope.
It's going to get worse.
Yep.
So home values and appreciation,
Back up.
they're going to continue to go up.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hustle on Purpose. We've got another special guest for you today, Marijane Pfeiffer. Marijane, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm excited to have you here. So for the people out there that don't know you, just tell us a little bit about you and what you do and how you got here.
So I was born and raised in Van Buren. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have. Yeah, okay.
So up around Northwest Arkansas. I moved to Little Rock when I was, I think, 19. And when I got down here, I came down here for school and did school. And that's where, honestly, I got my very first job in the mortgage industry. That's what I do. I'm a residential mortgage lender. And so that's where I got my first job. And I've been in Little Rock. I've kind of moved back and forth a few times, but
Between Van Buren and here?
No, just kind of all over the place.
All over the place, okay.
But mostly Little Rock.
And mostly in Arkansas or
Yes.
like out of state?
Okay. I've lived like in Texas a time or two, but not for long. I'm a huge advocate for Arkansas. I just think it's beautiful, and I love the outdoors. Same. And it's got so much to offer.
I grew up, so I was born and raised in Little Rock, and I grew up always thinking I wanted to move to a big city.
Yeah.
You know, like Arkansas, Little Rock was just not big enough for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to move to like a Dallas, a New York,
Me,
a Chicago. Same. And as I got a little bit older and I started visiting those places, I was like, nope, never mind.
Yep.
And what I realized is, for me, Central Arkansas is perfect. It's big enough where there's still plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not limited like I felt like I was. And I realized I grew up just in this little bubble, you know, of the kids I went to school with and like my parents and their friends. And you're just in this sheltered little bubble. And pretty quickly realized that outside of that bubble, but still in the city of Little Rock, there's more people than I'm ever going to meet and more things to do than I'm ever going to be able to do.
Yeah.
But it's still small enough where I really feel like I get to have an impact on the community, which is great. I don't know. It's the Goldilocks zone for me. It's not too big, not too small. It's like just right.
Well, I know when I left Van Buren, obviously I was very young.
Right.
But I was determined to leave my hometown. Mm-hmm. I was very much like you. My goal one day was to be on Wall Street. So New York City was literally on my radar. I've always loved the idea of Dallas. But when I moved to Little Rock, I chose it because it was 2 hours away from my home. Mm-hmm. And if I needed to go home, I could.
Right.
But it was far enough away that I could have the independence to figure out things. And so it was a good decision.
Yeah, it's a good quite a bit of a good baby step between Van Buren to New York.
You think?
That would have been a little bit of a culture shock, I would imagine.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I am a residential mortgage loan officer. I work for Fairway Independent Mortgage. That's my full-time gig. I've been with this particular company for the last 3 years. Before that, I was a stay-at-home mom while my daughter, who is a 21-year-old Sooner at OU. And so when she went to school, it was time for me to to get back to what I know.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's just what I do. I'm actually licensed in Arkansas and Texas.
Okay.
And so I still have a base of people that I work with in Texas also.
Awesome.
And so, anyway, that's pretty much, I love my community. I like getting involved. I'm a relational person. Anybody that really knows me knows I like to get plugged in. So I think it's good for me.
Yeah. It's a great city for that, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How did she end up choosing Oklahoma?
So when she graduated from high school, she went to a private school, Little Rock Christian here in Little Rock. And she ended up ultimately going to Samford in Birmingham, and small private Christian school. But sadly, it was the year of COVID. And so her freshman year of college was spent that first semester in a dorm.
Yeah.
And before that semester was even over, she was telling me, Mom, I'm coming home. I can do school online and have a lot more freedom than I have here.
Right.
And so that's what she did. And then after her second semester, she figured out she wanted to go to OU. And she does have a connection there. The young man she's been dating for a while.
Oh, no. It's a boy.
It's a boy. Goes to OU. And so she's like, I think I want to go do that. And so we checked it out. And she absolutely has thrived there. It's been a great fit. So good choice for her.
Yeah.
She's actually in her senior year. So
what is she studying?
Digital marketing and business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I need to talk to her.
I think it will serve her well in the age we're in right now.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Did you tell her you were going to be on a podcast?
No.
Oh, it's going to be a surprise?
Yeah.
Or you're not going to tell her?
Oh, I'm going to tell her.
Yeah. Yeah, just tell her when it comes out. Just send her a link and be like...
I actually tap her some to do little projects for me.
Yeah.
She's actually working on a project for me right now
Awesome.
for something I'm wanting to do for some realtors. And so I think it's a good way to get her
It's the least she could do.
Heck yeah, it is.
She owes you.
for that college education.
For years of motherhood and support. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really good.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And OU's going to join the SEC.
Oh yeah.
So
I think they've struggled a little bit this year.
Well, they're the past handful of years they've been so good. You have these programs that go through a season of being like really good, and then when they start not meeting that same expectation, it's like disappointment comes through unmet expectations.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Arkansas's terrible, but we expect it to be pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like it's different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why head coaches are always trying to manage those expectations.
Yeah.
Because they know like once the expectations get high, then their job starts getting on the line.
But don't we all manage expectations?
Oh, yeah.
All the time?
That's true. Yeah. I'm big on like trying to underpromise and overdeliver. Because it's terrible when it's the other way.
Yeah, but obviously these coaches, they have it in a very fishbowl atmosphere, whereas my audience for delivery of expectations is really my clients and my referral partners. And so can you imagine if everybody's watching and critiquing? I mean, I would just hate that. That would be awful.
It would be really tough. Yeah. I mean, it's also why they make a bunch of money.
True.
But, with the paycheck, I had this conversation with had a CEO of a local company in here the other week, and it was like, we were talking about C-suite executive compensation. And it was like, it's always in the headlines that one of those people's making a ridiculous amount of money. And it's like, well, somebody's cutting those paychecks.
Yep.
And I promise you, they came up with that number for a reason.
Yeah.
Those people are handling some weighty expectations.
That's right.
Making some really important decisions. And it's not like the CEO of whatever exploited some loophole to get their paycheck that high. It's like, and a lot of it comes with maybe this is what we should do for if Arkansas gets a new head coach, it's like pay them in like stock options.
Heck yeah.
It's like when ticket sales go up, you get like a percentage of the, instead of just having it, we're going to pay you however many millions of dollars and then we'll pay you even more after you leave. Like, you know, I don't know how much, not to make this all about college football, but so like Jimbo Fisher got fired as the head coach of A&M.
Yeah.
And like had a good season, just didn't live up to like national championship expectations, right? And his buyout, he is getting paid, it's like $26,000 and some change a day to not coach.
I mean, goodbye. Okay.
It's like, it's like, oh my gosh. I saw like an infographic thing. It's like his first coaching job was a defensive coordinator somewhere in like 1992. And he made $23,000 a year.
Yeah.
And now he's making that a day to not coach. It's just like, that's just insane.
Yeah. And don't go too deep in the college football. I actually enjoy watching it. I'm just, it's not, it's probably more your forte than my forte.
I didn't even mean to go there. I don't know how I got there.
Okay. We're in Arkansas. It's the SEC.
Yeah.
That's where everyone goes. So it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Finding affordable, quality property and casualty insurance can be a pain, but Little Rock-based JTS has the protection real estate and property owners need. From liability and property coverage to plans for loss of rent, renovation projects, and more. Just give Matt Barger a call at 501-231-1611. He even has markets for short-term rentals like Airbnb, as well as vacant, owner-financed, and rent-to-own properties. Call Matt today at 501-231-1611 or email him at matt@jtsfs.com. The most common question I get asked is, GT, how do I get started in real estate investing? And my go-to answer is to go talk to Robbie Cole at Benchmark Home Loans. Robbie will help you figure out the best loan option for you in your current situation and help you with long-term planning as well. He gives out free advice 7 days a week, and he would love to help you. So if you're one of the people that's been afraid to start that conversation, I encourage you to stop right now and call 501-777-9995 so that you can start your investing journey or take it to the next level. Once again, that's Robbie Cole at Benchmark Home Loans, 501-777-9995. But so you mentioned to me before being a bit of a data nerd. I would love to, while I've got you here, hear some of what you're seeing out there in your lending practice and business. Because, you know, I think a lot of people, we're all just kind of in a weird place.
Yeah.
You know, getting comfortable with the current market that we're in.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been doing that nonstop for like 3 straight years of just like, you know, the market changes daily, weekly, monthly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where are we at now? Where are we going to be at in 3 months? What are you kind of experiencing or seeing out there in your day to day?
So I do like to digest a lot of financial data, and I do that because it really helps me to not sound dumb when I'm talking to my clients.
Right.
I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And ultimately down the road, they're going to trust me because what I'm telling them has a pretty good possibility of coming to pass. Just, you know, what I tend to do is I always have financial news on my TV.
Yeah. What do you watch mainly?
I watch Bloomberg.
Okay.
I really, really like their surveillance moment, I guess you call it. It's in the early morning. And it really kind of sets me up to know what economic data is coming out, what could affect not just the stock market, but I tend to watch the 10-year Treasury. That tends to have an impact on mortgage rates. And so when you tend to see the 10-year Treasury rise, you tend to see mortgage rates rise. When you tend to see it fall, you tend to see mortgage rates come down.
Do you know, what does that like time correlation look like? Like if it, do you know? Like if the 10-year treasury goes up, how long till it affects mortgage rates?
So typically,
we're getting in the weeds, but
no,
I'm curious.
and that's fine. So in my world, every single day I get interest rates for the day that come out about between 9:30 and 10 a.m.
Okay.
The 10-year treasury has already been open. I mean, it's part of, the U.S. market and has already had activity. So you can typically tell by looking at it if it's up or down. Like this morning, it was down, I think it was like at 4.11 maybe. And just so you know, about 3 weeks ago, and I hope someone doesn't go look this up because it might not be right at 3 weeks ago, but
this won't go out for a couple of weeks.
Okay. But it was probably closer to 5%. So it has fallen significantly.
Yeah.
Which directly does impact the mortgage rate. So let's just say the 10-year comes down, within a day, let's say 8 to 12 basis points, I might see interest rates come back out in the middle of the day with an improvement. So
it's like immediately.
It can be, depending on how big the movement is.
Gotcha.
So without a doubt, that's what I watch. It is on my phone.
Yeah.
Where I can hit one button and see where it's at the moment. It's on my desktop and it's on my TV. So, but it also comes back to what other data is coming out. There's always housing numbers that are coming out. There's, personal consumption that comes out. There's all kinds of, numbers that come out that are fed, which affects the short-term interest rates.
Right.
And that's where, we have been seeing them having a really tightening position. They're kind of chilling a little bit, and they're not raising rates anymore. So,
well, it seems to be. I mean, this is just from personal observation. It seems that this like soft landing that they've been talking about is happening. I mean,
well, I would not. I'm not in that camp yet.
Okay,
that is a buzzword that they're all using.
Right.
Here, historics, if you go look at historics, the Fed always overcorrects.
It's human nature. Right?
I mean, it's because that inflation was so high, they had to bring the hammer down. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you're not going to see the immediate results the next month. Sometimes there's a lag. And that's the experts that I listen to, and there are a couple of other people in the mortgage realm that I listen to. One is Barry Habib on MBS Highway. And Dave Stevens is a consultant. He's a former assistant HUD secretary, I think under Obama. Fairway is amazing about providing us content directly from them as a loan officer. So I can understand what is going on currently in the market, what happened historically, but what that means I can look to happen in the next probably 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, because it's hard to know. I mean, it's I've quit publicly stating my my opinions of what might happen because I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well,
I'm going to give you an open door to state it.
So in late 2022, going into 2023, like interest rates started going up. We knew it was going to happen. I think, everyone pretty much agreed it had to happen.
It had to happen.
And I was in full-blown preparation for scaling back up my acquisition stuff. Because in my limited, monkey brain, it was like my basic understanding of macroeconomics, right? It was like, okay, interest rates are going to go up. That's going to drive demand down. It's going to drive that low demand is going to drive inventory up. So we'll be in a high inventory, low demand market, which means price comes down, right? Made perfect sense in my head. I was like, we're going to be in a high inventory, low price market. I'm going to have people, systems, processes, financing, everything in place to go back to like when COVID hit and I was buying at, for a personal level, buying at a pretty decent scale. And then, like none of that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, the interest rates went up, and demand went down, but the inventory has yet to go up and prices have yet to come down.
Yeah. So there's a lot of reasons behind that.
Okay.
So the reason our inventory is so low right now, there's actually several reasons. A lot of people are sitting on very low mortgage rates, and
the golden handcuffs.
Yeah. They're like, I ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
I have a 3.5% and you can't pry that out of my hands.
Yep.
The other issue is that where was I going with that thought? So you have low inventory, but on top of that you have I'm having a little bit of a
Nobody's buying because of the high interest rates.
Well, that's not entire. I mean, Pete, there are still buyers out there.
Right.
That what's amazing is that the people that you don't really think about are the ones that are buying. For example, like right now is typically historically a slow time around the holidays. But believe it or not, I have several people that have no choice. They have to move because they're moving from out of state. So they're buyers. I have younger people who don't really care if they have to move during Christmas. So I have people like that. So there's, but in having the lower inventory, first of all, I'm back to where I was a while ago. During COVID, we had a huge lack of building supplies, and the supply demand was a big problem. That threw a lot of people behind. Builders were not producing as many homes. If you go look at the sheer number of homes being built, like new homes, we're like at all-time low levels. And the market is not expected, honestly, the housing inventory in general is not expected to recover for a couple of years. Yeah. And then on top of that, you literally have the largest majority of first-time home buyers coming into the market like in the next year. And they're right now sitting on the sidelines. Do you know what the average age of a first-time home buyer is right now?
I'm guessing it's older than it used to be.
Give me a number.
Average age of first-time home buyer, I'm going to say 28.
33.
Wow, okay.
Because people are, first of all, there's a millennial group that, believe it or not, is bigger than any other group we have ever had.
Wow, really?
And they are entering that 33 age right now. And
34.
Guess what? They're sitting on the sideline right now because rates are high, and some of them feel like renting is easier.
It is
than owning.
Easier.
They don't really necessarily process through the benefits and the possibility of building long-term wealth by owning real estate. But I mean, so there's a lot of reasons for it. Yeah. But that's why the experts I listen to are saying what's going to happen is inventory is going to stay low. When the rates start coming down, which they will, the most projections I'm hearing from who I consider to be the smartest people are saying probably spring to summer. And so guess what's going to happen? When you have lower rates, you have all of these, like the largest volume of first-time home buyers coming into wanting to buy their first homes. They're waiting for those rates to come down. Yeah. So do you think inventory is going to improve?
Nope.
It's going to get worse.
Yep.
So home values and appreciation,
back up.
They're going to continue to go up.
Well, and yeah, you mentioned a point that I'm passionate about. It's people not buying because they don't fully understand the benefits. And It's a big reason why we even started this YouTube channel is because I agree with you. Like I have a lot of friends that are in the same age bracket I am. I just turned 34. And they know that I'm in real estate. I own some real estate. You know, as it stands right now, I think I own 92 houses.
Dang.
Well, and that's not, I don't mean that in like a bragging way, but what I will tell people when they ask me about real estate is like, I can sit here and talk about my personal opinions and try to predict the future, but I'd rather you look at my actions, and my actions will tell you that I believe wholeheartedly in residential real estate in the United States.
Yeah, me too.
Because it is an overwhelmingly massive percentage of my investments. Like pretty much all of it, you know. And it's because of all of the benefits I try to tell people about. It's not only the cash flow, the depreciation, the whatever. A big part of it nowadays is the anti-inflationary aspect of it. A lot of what has driven home prices up is the value of the dollar going down. You know, the houses are just worth more US dollars than they were worth. The dollar going down in value in buying power negatively affects pretty much all of us. But I'm able to hedge against that because as the value of the dollar goes down, my brick and mortar homes are worth more dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many benefits to it. It's rental real estate can be really tough. It's certainly not for everybody. I certainly don't recommend rapidly scaling a residential investing company necessarily the way that I did. It's not for everybody. But I just believe in it wholeheartedly, and I'm still telling people some more stuff that I think people don't understand about buying a house right now is interest rates get all the headlines, right? And yes, they're way higher than they were 2 years ago. But you may be able to get a house that 2 years ago you would not have been able to get. You may be the only offer to buy that house. You may be able to get it for $10, $20, $30, $40,000 less than you would have had to pay for it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You may be able to get that seller to pay your closing costs. I think it's an incredible time to buy a house, to buy the right house at the right price.
So did you know that in the last 70 years, home appreciation has gone down 7 times in the past 70 years?
I did not know that. So
I
say it
actually
again.
have a
Home
graph.
appreciation has gone down.
Down.
Okay.
Only 7 times in 70 years.
Wow.
So if you are a buyer,
Yeah.
the majority of you have seen appreciation year after year after year. And then if you have rental properties or investment properties and or just a homeowner, not only have you seen your equity go up, which is an asset,
Yeah.
but as
Rents
an
go up.
investment, your rent's going up. And the other thing is if you look at like apartment rents, so expensive. My daughter pays, not my daughter, I do, she's a college student, pays a stupid amount
Yeah.
for a 1-bedroom. Like I could literally buy her a 3-bedroom house for what her 1-bedroom costs. It is
They're crazy.
crazy. So that right there is a prime example why having investment properties is a good way to build wealth.
Yeah. It's not, it's not an overnight thing. It's not a lottery ticket.
It's
but
work.
Like Grant Cardone says, it's like, don't go for the get rich quick, go
Yep.
for the get rich for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, it might take me a while, and not that being rich is like my ultimate end goal. But for me, like I mentioned, I think to you when we've talked before. So like my dad and my parents had a brick and mortar pawn shop when I was growing up. It was my dad's dream and vision to like have this, and it was provided us with a very nice lifestyle till my dad passed away when I was 12 and left my mom with this business. It was not her dream, her, vision, but it's what she had to do. It's what like provided for me and her and our family. And so that's obviously was really impactful for me. And so real estate is also one of those things where it's like, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, that real estate will still provide for my wife and kids.
Yeah.
She will not have to clock in to a brick and mortar retail business every day or try to figure out how to manage employees that I hired and trained, or try to, it will. Got a friend, got a moth.
I saw it.
It's something that will be much easier for her to handle and use to provide for our family.
So the
key
to that 100% is something you've already said, is having the processes in place and the people in place when you have that many properties. Honestly, that's critical, I think, for anybody in business, is if you want to grow and be successful and handle an increase in business, you've got to have the processes in place to handle it. Because if you don't, you're not going to handle it well.
Yeah,
so,
been there. Yeah. Don't scale chaos is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. And once I heard it put that way, I was like, oh man, yeah, been there. Your business, you want to scale it because you want to grow it. If you're not growing, you're probably dying, right? It's just kind of the nature of how things go. Like, staying the same is kind of a myth in the business world. I think it's like, there's no such thing as just like maintaining. It takes so much energy and effort. You have to keep at least trying to grow, or it will just immediately backslide.
In this day and age, if you are not forward thinking, you are falling behind.
Yeah.
Right now in my business, probably one of the big things that's talked about, and I haven't embraced it. I've looked into it and I've kind of researched it, but this AI, is like heavily talked about in my industry, because it could really help some loan officers in content material, especially when they're talking about their social media. I'm just not sure that I think it's all good. I think I'm more concerned. I am the one that will stop and look at the bad before I look at the good. And that's what I have done with that. Yeah.
Well, it's good. You have to be cautious. I think, loan officers are okay. But like to my like attorney friends, my tax professional friends, stuff like that, it's like, it's a little scary. I've seen this stuff where it's like, they send tax stuff into 100 different CPAs, get them to run the taxes, and they get ChatGPT to do them. And like, it does it just as well as the best CPA. And I'm like, yikes. Like if I'm a tax professional, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like Pandora's box has been opened.
Yeah.
It's out there.
You're right.
As soon as Microsoft bought OpenAI for however many billions of dollars, it's like, it's out there, it's happening. How do we adapt to that? I had this conversation. It's kind of crazy, not to just out my brothers-in-laws. I've got two of my brother-in-laws. We were sitting around the campfire solving all the world's problems one night. One of them drives a big rig for FedEx, does really well doing that. And another brother of mine at the time was a real estate agent. And at this moment, I was a financial advisor at New York Life.
Okay.
This is a lifetime ago. And we're sitting there and I'm like, guys, what are we going to do? Like, we're all going to be replaced. Like, insurance sales is going to be done by a computer. Like, New York Life was already rolling out stuff even back then, 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
At the time, I had no real estate experience. I was talking to my brother-in-law that was a real estate agent. I was like, Zillow and whatever. Like, if I'm looking for a house to buy with my wife, I'm sitting there at 10 p.m. and we're just scrolling through pictures
You
online.
and everyone else.
Yeah. Right. And like, as soon as AI-driven trucks get through the unions and stuff in the way. Like, it just makes too much sense to me. Like, as soon as they prove they're safe, and these companies realize we can run these trucks for 24 hours a day and not have to follow all these union rules about sleep and whatever, like, it just doesn't make sense to have humans driving those trucks anymore. And I just remember having that conversation with them then, and it's gotten, that was, like I said, 8 or 9 years ago. It's just getting more and more prevalent every day. Trying to figure out how to navigate the AI stuff. I'm a complete rookie when it comes to it. And I'm kind of thankful that, it's still going to take people with hammers and saws and stuff to renovate houses. And
heck yeah.
Kind of thankful for those trades and that my business involves those, and AI is not taking those away.
Well, if you
soon.
think about it, a friend of mine and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about the trades in general, HVACs, plumbers, electricians, roofers. If you really think about that, without those people in our world, we would not be able to function.
Nope.
I know in my business networking group, it's talked a lot about how the white collar seats of our group kind of drive the business. But to be honest with you, without the blue collar, we couldn't function.
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal. And we're a lot more likely to be replaced by AI than they are.
Right.
And so as an LO, I think that, like you said, I think that's further down the road.
Yeah.
A lot of loan officers, honestly, are looking at AI for creating content.
It's a tool. Yeah.
On the quick.
Yeah.
I personally feel when I put out something and it's my words, I think people know it's my words.
Yep.
It's not something that was just automatically generated or digitally produced by a web person. And I think there's something to be said for that. You may argue with that.
No, I don't at all. I actually agree with you wholeheartedly. It can be a helpful tool for somebody like me because I'm not great with like a blank canvas. I'm pretty good with like a little bit of like a head start.
I think the Tin Man might see different.
Can you see if the people can see the Tin Man behind me? I've got a 7-foot tall Tin Man just like looming over my shoulder. Yeah.
Who was non-existent until
he was.
You created
Chat
him.
GPT did not help me at all with the Tin Man.
And that's another thing. If you just really think about it, and once again, that is just like such a rabbit hole I could go down. But I mean, when you literally give a computer the ability to think for you and be creative for you, why try?
Yeah.
And what is that going to do for us going forward as a society?
That's a good point.
We're going to have a bunch of worthless people, walking around and not being able to critically think outside the box when they're in a situation.
I was talking to a teacher. I've got a lot of close friends that are teachers, and one of them had gone to a conference recently, and the headline speaker of the conference gets up there and says, you as teachers in the modern day have to come to terms with the fact that you are no longer there to teach students facts, or you're not there to necessarily educate kids on 2 + 2 is 4, because kids nowadays, like, if they want to know anything, they just ask their phone. You're there to teach kids how to think and to want to be learners, teach them how to learn and how to like doing it.
Yep.
And how to become, how to be productive members of society. But as the whole purpose of the speech was to be a teacher in the modern day is much more about, making sure kids know how to interact with the world and with other people. Because technology's become so much of a crutch, and it's probably just going to become more so. It's better to teach kids to want to learn stuff than to try and just cram facts in their heads.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting because, like, in some point, like, to some extent, I agree. Like, it's really disheartening to just hear that, like, we're not teaching kids stuff. But also, like, everybody I talked to, it's like, had a buddy of mine that's really into fishing, loves to take his son fishing. Well, he starts taking his son fishing, and the second time they go fishing, his son's talking about how he started following this pro fisherman on YouTube and how he learned these 12 great new things. And he's like, on one point, you know, I'm talking to the father, and he's like, on one hand, like, I'm excited that, like, he's getting into it. He likes this new skill and hobby. Well, on the other side of it is like, I wanted to teach my son how to fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're just at this, like, really weird place that we're going to have to all navigate together.
Yeah.
And I mean, there will undoubtedly be some long-term ramifications to what this technology does to all of us.
And I do think, I actually used to sit on a school board. I sat on a school board for 6 years.
Yeah.
And the school that I did that for was very pivotal in bringing in some people to help us as a board think through curriculum and what's best for students at that time. I think my daughter was maybe 17 about when that occurred.
Yeah.
But what was so amazing is we went through this one process where we talked about what is the most important thing for students in high school to become proficient at doing, and it was collaborating with other people and groups was like a huge part of it. Well, think about that. That has nothing to do with, AI. It literally is relational. It is getting in a group of people and finding your voice, being able to share ideas, not being afraid. And in fact, the school that I was at, they, what was the name of that? Dang it, I can't believe I'm not going to be able to remember it, but they had a particular program that they implemented in their high school that literally the classroom, they got rid of all the desks and they got conference tables. And
awesome.
So literally the students would sit around the conference table with the teacher, instructor, facilitating, but it was, you are provided the idea and everyone is expected to contribute and discuss and solve. And I cannot believe I don't remember the name of it. But it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a good way think about it. How many of us end up in situations where we have to communicate with someone?
Yeah. Well, and what I think COVID made a lot of us realize is when that's taken away, how detracting it is from productivity and happiness.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us realized, even introverted people realized, like, we need that human interaction and connection.
It is, I just remembered, it's called the Harkness method. Okay. And it is super cool if you see it in context of high school students.
Yeah.
But that's where we're going, honestly, because I think content education is important. Mm-hmm. I think that still has to be delivered. Yeah. There's too much out there you need to know about. Right. But if you've got the ability to collaborate and critically think, then that puts you at a different level. And I actually saw it in action. I sat in on a couple of conversations, and you can literally see the ones that are the more comfortable ones in the group speaking, and the ones that are the ones on the fringe, saying, "Oh, I agree with that."
Well, and it is a skill. I mean, some people are born more adept or gifted at it than others. Yeah. But I mean, what I've realized as I get older and I live through more experiences is you can, it's going to sound so cliche, but you can become whoever it is you want to be.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, my wife and I took a communications class together freshman year of college, and she will be the first person to tell you, I was awful. Like, I could not stand in front of a class of 15 people and give a decent speech to save my life. Get clammy just like thinking about it, and would get up there and couldn't communicate my point to save my life.
Yeah.
It was awful, terrible. And I still wouldn't consider myself a great communicator, but on a few occasions I've stood on a stage in front of, 100, 200 people, and it doesn't give me a panic attack like it used to.
Yeah.
And it's just because you do more of it. And some of those people will never do stuff like that unless they're forced into it.
Yeah.
And we live in a society now where it's like forcing somebody to do something is like triggering and a microaggression and whatever.
Iro.
But
I shouldn't say that, but I am a
Yeah.
firm believer in the saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's where
if
the
you're
growth
not
and the-
doing that,
Yeah.
then you're not going to grow.
Right. I want to be very clear. I want everyone to be safe and
That's right.
not harmed and
No.
whatever. Sitting at a conference table is not harming any 17-year-old.
No.
And the faster you get good at it, the better off you will be.
Yeah.
And as a parent, I firmly believe my job is not to make my children's lives comfortable. It's to facilitate them growing and learning and becoming the best humans I can help them be.
Yeah. Well, just think about it. Challenges, hard times.
Yeah.
They produce like,
Yeah.
solved problems. It allows you to become more resilient. Is it tough in the moment? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those in my life. Some, please don't take me back there again.
Right.
But did they make me a stronger person? Did without a doubt.
100%.
And so,
Yeah.
but when you have little ones, as you're in the throes of, I have a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
I still am a firm believer that
Yeah.
her experiencing life can sometimes be the best teacher, even if I don't love how it makes her feel.
Yeah. Well, and I would rather it happen in that controlled environment.
That's right.
Than the first time it happens is when she's 5 hours away
That's right.
and whatever.
And she knows, just as your kids will grow to know, that I am her backstop. I am there.
Right.
I will catch her. I
Yeah.
will prop her up.
Yeah.
I might not necessarily save her, but I'm definitely there.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 100%. But there's a line. It's like, there's a line. Like I tell, and my kids are too young to understand this. I think my daughter's about to be 5 and she's starting to get it. But like, I try to explain to her the difference between scary and dangerous.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like when she doesn't want to stay in her bed because she's scared or there's a monster or something. It's like, well, staying in your bed may be scary, but it's not dangerous, and some of the scary stuff she's got to put on her big girl pants and like deal with. The dangerous stuff, Dad's here.
Yeah.
And like, Dad will handle the dangerous.
That's right.
Dad will bury the dangerous things in the woods outside the house.
And not think twice about it.
That's what dads do. Yeah.
Moms will do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. My wife has a mama bear in there for sure. Don't cross my kids. But yeah, it's you work out. We've talked about it. It's like the growth comes from the difficulty.
Yeah.
You go to the gym and you just do what's easy.
Yeah.
Well, don't expect to make any progress.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you won't. It's just not the way it works. You've got headaches or cramps or whatever. It's like taking the medicine is the easy thing, but it's not going to solve
the problem.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I could go down that road so easily.
You said not to lead you down it, and I was like, just went straight there.
So I think it's always to dig deeper. I am a huge proponent of finding out the solution instead of slapping a Band-Aid on. So finding out the why. And, I will say 100% that I am anybody that really, really knows me well knows that I'm a firm believer in hitting the gym. I weight train.
Yeah.
Probably 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I have for many years. I've been a member of D1. I don't know if you know where that's at. And
I've been too scared to go. It looks
dude, you
intense.
should so join me.
Yeah, I know. I'm so scared.
Dr. Cam, too. Y'all, too, can join.
Yeah, but Dr. Cam looks like an absolute monster.
Well,
he's a beast.
He's got some wrestling in his blood.
I'm scared.
No.
It would be fun. Y'all would just show me up.
No. See, that's what most people don't realize is that when I throw that challenge down, it's literally because I've been active. I've not always, in my youth, I didn't always make the wisest choices. As I got a little older, I literally, my best analogy to it is when I was I probably started really working out in my early 20s. I was a high school and junior high athlete. And then I was...
What'd you do? What sport?
I loved playing basketball.
Yeah.
I even played basketball up into my adult.
Really?
Just with groups, right?
Yeah.
Adults that go
Yeah.
play ball.
I still play basketball if you
Yeah.
ever want to come play basketball.
Softball, my husband and I played on some co-ed teams for a while.
That's fun.
I mean, I like to move, being active.
Yeah.
But what I found is in my 20s, I wanted to look good, right?
Yeah.
In your 20s, I was
Right.
a little vain and I was just like, okay, I want to look good.
Right.
So I need to start doing something. I found out in my 30s that, okay, yeah, I want to look good, but I really want to be fit. I want to be strong.
Right.
And then when I got in my 40s, I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to be more in the health mindset.
Yeah.
This is a lifestyle. I've been doing it for a long time. And so it's less about how I look and more about health.
Yeah.
And in my 50s, I'll be 55 this next year.
Yeah.
I have figured out that now I am in how long do I hope to be able to be this physically active.
Right.
And sometimes that means I have to lift a little lighter than I used to.
Yeah.
Be a little smarter.
Right.
And so it's just kind of educated me a lot. In D1, I'm a massive advocate of just weight training in general. Women who are afraid to put on muscle they don't understand the concept.
That used to wear me out so much. My wife would be like, I'm afraid of getting big. And I would just be like, do you know how hard I'm working to try and get big? Like, do you think I'm like, it's like, it's so much, it's just, you're not going to get big.
No.
Don't worry about it. Like, you're not going to put on more muscle than you want to.
No. I literally, for someone my age and someone my size, I think I still lift pretty heavy.
Yeah.
The nice benefit is by doing this and doing it often, is you basically create a furnace in your body that's constantly burning. So I have a huge love for food, but I eat well because I like good food.
Yeah.
But it feeds the machine, which allows me to keep doing what I do. And so I like things like this.
You get something sugary?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But in a limited amount.
Yeah.
Whereas this is my go-to most of the time.
Right.
And so.
My wife drinks nothing but water.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it.
Well, that's
no caffeine, no
that's
anything,
pretty.
just water.
This is a one a day for me.
That's impressive for me. This is already my second one of these.
Yeah, and that's a good size cup.
I know, it's a problem. I've eliminated most of the bad things in my life. Caffeine.
And you're like, okay, this is one I'm hanging
caffeine,
on to.
I'm not ready to let go of yet.
Yeah.
I'm just not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm addicted, and I'm sticking to it.
No.
For the time being.
And you know what? I think with this also comes life choices, and you still want to be able to live life.
Right.
And if that gives you joy, then
it does.
You give that cup of coffee or two.
Yeah. I used to work out quite a bit. I had a buddy that was really big into it, did like the shows,
the competitions
and stuff. And I was in my 20s, wanted to look good. I always made the joke with my wife, like after we got married, it's like, well, you quit baiting the hook when you're done fishing.
Yeah.
It's like, kind of let myself
go. Did you say that to her?
I have.
Oh, dude. No.
I have. She did not think it's funny.
No, but I don't think so.
Yeah. I've tried to, now my main exercise is I play basketball. I try to at least make it once a week.
Yeah.
It's really easy for me to put on weight. It's also pretty easy for me to lose it.
Yeah.
I have to do something.
Because you're a man.
Yeah.
That's a little irritating for a lot of women. I'm just going to say, you can take a man who needs to lose 20 pounds and a woman who needs to lose 20 pounds, put them in the same gym, same environment.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the man transform like before your eyes.
Yeah.
It almost pisses the women off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, we're made different. We're created different.
Yeah.
And I won't go down that rabbit hole, because like, I'm very much like, we were created differently, and that's okay.
That is okay.
My wife is extremely gifted at things that I will never be able to do in some cases.
Yeah.
When it comes to creating our children, nurturing our children, there's so many things, right? But like physically we're just different. And like, it comes with some pros and cons. Like maybe I'm able to lose weight easier. But like,
is she a better cook than you are?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Not to make it a
competition.
Yeah. Yeah. She's better at a lot of things.
Yeah.
But like, I'll never be able to birth our children, which not that I necessarily want to, but anyways, we're different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it comes with pros and cons. Like her back doesn't hurt like mine does.
There you go.
Like if something needs to get lifted, guess who lifts it?
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. We're different, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. But you definitely do need to join me sometime in the gym, and then you'll have.
You just want to publicly humiliate me. That's okay.
I really like just introducing people to my why.
If you can get Dr. Cam to go, I'll go.
Dr. Cam's been there.
Okay.
I think he.
When do you normally go? You go like early, probably. Don't you?
I'm at 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Girl.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very easy to slide
Every
in
day?
there. Pretty much. I didn't go this morning because I had a little going on today.
Yeah.
But it's. But when you get to, honestly, as long as I've been doing it, like I went away at Thanksgiving. I was gone for the whole week. I did no exercise.
Yeah.
And I find when I do stuff like that, my body is like, oh, thank you.
Right.
That was a good little rest you gave me.
Right. Now get back to it.
Most of the time I choose to not train on the weekend, but I might hit Pinnacle or I'm not a very idle person. Sometimes I wish I was better at that. Honestly, that's probably something I need to try harder at.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Have you always been that way?
Yeah.
Why?
I think I like to constantly be challenged. I think I'm just I can sit down and watch a movie just like anyone. I'm not a binger. I might watch, so I think I really enjoy the idea of a challenge, of something new, of let's get out, let's go, and I love that.
Yeah.
So I don't sit very often. But I will, like my sister-in-law gives me kind of grief because like she gave me a book last year and I like to read. I used to be a huge reader.
Yeah.
But as I got older in my age and you went through, you know, raising a child, and whenever my daughter was younger and I'd pick up a book, it'd put me to sleep because I was exhausted.
Yeah. Sat still for 2 seconds. Yeah.
But as I got older and I was like, okay, well, there's some books I probably really ought to read. Well, my sister-in-law gave me this fluff book. It was a fiction book, and it was like this thick. And when I say it took me 9 months to read, it did, because I would sit down and be like, and it was just awful. But when I went to the beach over Thanksgiving, I actually finished a book and almost got halfway through another book.
Wow.
And
so you sat. Look at you.
I literally sat in between a little bit of work that I still had to do while I was gone. But
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, so it was good. Yeah.
It's nice that you have healthy reasons for not being idle. I think I've tried to figure out what my reasons are, and I'm not sure any of them are that healthy. I think.
Well, I'm glad you think that's healthy.
Well, it's like, you want to be like, you know, accomplishing goals and stuff like that. And that's part of it for me too. Like a big part for me, I think, is like my dad was one of the oldest men on his side of the family when he died at like 56. So I come from like a long line of men that don't live a long time. I think that's kind of like always in the back of my head. It's like, just have a lot I want to do. And like, I mean, you know, if my midlife crisis happened at 28, you know, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just, I feel like I always have this like countdown in the back of my head that like anything after 56 is going to be like bonus, like overtime. Hopefully not.
Change that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably need to. Like I said, I just have like some unhealthy reasons. And the other reason is like, periods of my life that I've been idle have been periods of my life that I've gotten in trouble. You know, it's like idle hands are the devil's playground kind of thing.
There you go.
So when I stay busy and I focus my energy on productive things, my life is just a lot better.
And you know that, and that right there is healthy in itself.
So I think when I get idle, I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah.
I like equate idleness with like I'm going to end up like doing something stupid. I'm like drink again or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I lost my father before 50, or right at 50. And so I'm 100% with you. And I 100% believe that keeping moving in whatever that means to you is critical. I tell my mom constantly, you know, if you don't move it, you're going to lose it. And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why I still train as much as I do and move as much as I do, because I firmly do. I live it because I do believe it.
Yeah. You ever do any distance running or anything? I had a guy on here that runs a marathon every 4 years.
Yeah. So
thought that was an interesting strategy. He was like, yep, I'm either 2 years from doing one or just completed one.
I've done a couple of competitions.
Really?
That are, have you ever seen them? They're like one's Conquer the Gauntlet and Warrior Dash.
Yeah.
Have you ever done one of those?
I haven't.
Yeah.
But I've seen them.
Yeah. So
they look cool.
They're super challenging.
Yeah.
And if you like challenge, that's what it is. I mean, because you could be on your hands and knees crawling underneath wire. It's not barbed wire.
Yeah.
But you wire, or you could have to swim across, you know, a stretch of water, or do some bars across a mud pit, or all of that. I've done it maybe 3 or 4 of those.
Really?
And I stopped them just because I tore my ACL almost about 10 years ago, and my knee has never been the same.
Yeah.
And running is not my friend.
Yeah. Well, it's just like you said, getting smarter about stuff. It's like,
that's right.
Some of the, I mean, I've started weighing, I mentioned playing basketball. It's like weighing the risk versus the reward.
Yeah.
It's like, I still do it, even though it's it's not without risk. I mean, I'm out there with 9
That's how I tore my ACL.
Oh, really? Man, yeah. Thanks for telling me that. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, I was literally playing a game of 3-on-3.
Yeah.
My husband was guarding me. He was 6 foot, probably 230.
Yeah.
And he was going up for a layup. And what did I think I could do? Get in front of him. Dumbest decision ever in my life. So being smart is a huge component.
The last time my wife played basketball against me, we were dating. This was actually this was freshman year of college. We had just started dating, and we were up at U of A in Fayetteville, and they have the Hyper, is what, the gym facility, and if I wasn't busy with school or whatever, I was there playing basketball. And she was there with her friends, jogging or whatever. And
trying to get your attention.
Yeah, probably. In hindsight, I was so young and didn't get it. But she ended up coming down to the basketball court, everyone was done for the day, and I was just shooting around. And somehow or another, it turned into a challenge.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm still a pretty competitive person, but I've learned to pick and choose my moments a little bit better. But so she wanted to play a game to 21. And if she was if I win, we're going to watch The Notebook, the movie. And
you were shoot me, I'm going to win.
And if I won, I got something. I don't remember what it was. And I said, how about this? If you score, we'll watch The Notebook. And I beat her 21-0. And she has never let me live it down.
That's awful.
And she's never played.
You should have given her a point.
After
Did you get a date after that, I guess?
We ended up getting married and we have a family together. So I don't know. In hindsight, I was okay, well, I just need to let her know that she's not going to score unless I let her. And I was and I'm not big on letting people win things. As I've become a father, I'm working on it. I'm getting better at this competitive stuff. But yeah, I regretted it immediately. I was we can still watch the movie. I'm sorry.
Wait until you're playing checkers with your child.
Yeah.
Or tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. No, my 4-year-old and I, we play chess. And I mean, she moves the pieces wherever. We've been slowly working on how the pieces work. But she moves them wherever, and she just...
Keep teaching.
Yeah.
That's going to be...
Chess is great. I love chess.
Great idea.
Yeah, I'm not good at it, but I think it's a great game for not just to learn chess, but I think it has implications outside of the game itself.
Yeah. But your competitiveness, that's funny.
Yeah.
You are not scoring a point.
Yeah. And she didn't.
And by the way, I might want to go out with you again.
Yeah. It was one of those too focused on winning the battle instead of the war. I mean, it worked out. So I'm glad, but she has yet, I mean, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's never played basketball with me again.
There you go. Lesson learned. Although we don't want her tearing an ACL. I'm just saying.
We don't.
Sometimes is she competitive like you are? Obviously, she challenged you to a game of 21.
She has her things.
Yeah.
Yeah. She can be.
Yeah.
But it has to be one of very few things. In my 20s, I'd make anything a competition. I mean, you could anything, name it, and we can make it into a competition.
Yeah.
Now my priorities have shifted. I don't have the mental capacity to worry about it that much.
And that's fine.
Yeah. I think it's part of growing up.
It is part of growing up.
Oh man, I appreciate you being so willing to talk about anything and everything. I kind of took us all over the place.
Well, and I'm fine with that. I think it was good.
How do people find you if anybody needs to talk about loan origination? Anything?
So you can literally find me. You can Google me, Marijane Pfeiffer at Fairway Independent Mortgage, and you'll find me. I actually have a website. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I try to on my Facebook page. I really try to provide enough content that you see a lot about what I do professionally with some of my personal.
Yeah.
And so you can pretty much find me just about that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. I really appreciate you coming. I really like getting to talk to you. I do need to come out to D1 sometime and let you show me up. And
thanks for having me.
We can put it on Facebook.
And that challenge is out.
Outlifting me on everything.
No, I doubt I will outlift you because there is still a difference between a man and a woman. But the biggest compliment I get in the gym is when we go to pick up weights and one of my guy friends is like, you can't pick up the same one as me. That's not okay. I'm like, that says more about you.
I know. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah. Like it's one of those, like, I have everything to lose as the 240-pound man. But anyways, it's okay.
Challenge on.
I'm okay.
We'll get Dr. Cam to join us.
It's good for me.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully your daughter likes that you were on a podcast. First timer, and you did amazing.
We shall. Thank you for
You're
having
a natural.
me. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. If you're listening, you can watch this on YouTube. If you're watching, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate you stopping by. See you on the next one, and hustle on purpose. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video as much as we liked making it, be sure to check out another one. You got one here. You got another one over here. If you want to listen to the podcast audio only, go check out the Spotify link in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It helps us out a ton. And please hit the bell if you want notifications anytime we drop a new video. Hope to see you on the next one.